All right. So welcome everyone. This is I'm graduating in May. What next? Career skills workshop with Rockefeller College, open to students in all majors. So I'm excited to see who all is here today. For those who don't know me, my name is Joan Marceau. I am the undergraduate internship and career coordinator with Rockefeller College. And I work with students on all kinds of career skills, from finding internships while they're in college to finding jobs as they graduate or getting ready for graduate school or whatever their next steps are. So let's just kind of dive into a little bit about this is a favorite kind of cartoon slide that I found years ago that I think really is helpful as you start thinking about graduation, because I think so often people think that their career path is going to look like the road on the left. It's going to be, a nice straight line forward. And if you veer off, that's a failure. And if you can follow the path, it's going to lead to success. The reality is, it doesn't always look like that. For most people, it looks a lot more like what's happening on the right. It's a little windy. You try some things, they don't really work. You try something else, learn from that experience, and you have, ups and downs, successes, and I don't like to call them failures, learning opportunities along the way. So that really is kind of, I think, the first thing that I like to talk about is that this is not as easy as everyone thinks. So if you don't get a job the first application you send out, don't beat yourself up. That's the norm. That's kind of the way this process works, and it's going to be a little more challenging than I think we'd like it to be. But in the end, we're probably going to learn a lot more from that process. So I want to do kind of a quick poll, and I'm just going to put this up here for a minute, and then I'm going to actually take the slides down and invite you guys to unmute and share a little bit about who you are. So tell me what your major is, what degree you're completing. Are you finishing your bachelor's, your master's, a PhD? Kind of where are you at in that process? Are you not quite graduating yet? You're just planning ahead for next year. And what is your likely next step? Are you looking for a job? Are you looking for grad school? Are you looking for a gap year? So if everyone can kind of share, that would be great. So I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing my screen right now and let you guys just go ahead and unmute and tell us a little bit about yourself. And maybe I'll call on people so then it'll be easier. I'm going to butcher your name. I'm sorry. Dagina, is that at all close?
It's Dagina.
Dagina, I was not
Yes.
close. Okay, Dagina, go ahead and tell us a little bit about you and where you're at with your process.
Um, so I'm majoring in criminal justice and I will be graduating in May. And my plans after graduation are to go to grad school.
Okay, so you're finishing your bachelor's degree.
Yeah, I
Okay,
am.
excellent.
Mm-hmm.
Um, all right, and where are you at in the grad school process? Have you started applying? Are you waiting? Are you kind of
Yeah, I've started applying and I've submitted my application to one school so far, and I'm still waiting on my recommendation.
okay?
So yeah.
Excellent. Excellent. And I'll just go ahead and if you're not able to unmute and talk, you can always go ahead and type it in the chat too. But Christina, you're next on my screen. Do you want to go next? Tell us your major or your degree, which program you're finishing, and what you're looking forward to in terms of next steps.
I'm sorry. I'm having phone problems. Okay, I think
That's
I
okay.
think it
There we
went.
go. And we
Yay.
can see you now. Yay.
Good. I'm an informatics major and
Excellent.
with a data analytics concentration. And I don't know what I'm doing the next steps. I'm doing a
Okay.
major career change and I don't know. I'm scared. I think I'm going to go back full time to my old career. I don't know. I'm scared.
It's a little scary. It definitely is. You're not alone. So you're finishing your bachelor's degree in May. Is that correct?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Excellent. All right. Mari.
Hi. Yeah, so I'm a undergrad student, senior. Um, I study public policy. My minor is in law. I have an associate's degree in paralegal studies from SUNY Broome.
Okay.
And I don't remember what the third question was. I'm sorry.
Next thoughts about next step. Are you looking for a job, grad school, law school,
Yeah, so
gap
I was
year?
kind of going back and forth on like the grad school versus entering the workforce question, but I
Okay.
think I'm pretty strongly leaning towards entering the workforce, unless like some sort of miracle happens with grad school funding.
Okay.
So that's where I am right now.
Excellent. Excellent. And Santino, if I pronounced that correctly. If you're able to unmute and introduce yourself, that would be great. If not, no worries.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Can you hear me now? Sorry, I had some like laptop's a bit laggy. I'm a senior. This is my last year here. My major is in informatics with a concentration in software development. I'm also a minor in media design. After graduation, currently I am trying to like find like an internship that's like close by, like in state, related to my major. And I recently got my I also got my resume all updated and stuff. So you know, most I'm planning towards like finding an internship first related to my getting my major. So.
Okay. Excellent. Excellent. Well, that is a great option too. So, all right. Well, I've got some slides to kind of walk us through and talk about different resources and questions and things like that. But I want this to be interactive. We're a small group. So feel free, at any point to just unmute and share, or you can type into the questions into the chat too, if that works for you. So let's think about, and we won't necessarily share, not everyone doesn't have to share, but if anyone wants to share, we talked a little bit about options that you're considering. Do any of you have family who may be pressuring you to do one thing or another thing, or just other things that are stressing you out about this whole process?
One thing I think that's kind of funny. So when I came into this program, or like when I first started considering it, I was kind of thinking maybe I would want to go like the federal route, federal government eventually. My dad is like a lifelong civil servant in the federal government, and that has completely changed for me, but he hasn't really caught on, even though I tell him that. So he keeps sending me all these like federal postings and like internships, and I don't know what to say to him anymore. I don't know how many times I can say I'm not going to do that for the next 3 years, but um, anyway, that was my plan.
Well, and family can be challenging, and that they don't always hear us right away. So I certainly understand. Excellent. Excellent. Anyone else want to share?
Sure.
All right. I'm wondering if that might be some background noise. So let me just go. I'm going to go ahead. Santino, I think you might have some background noise. So I'm going to go ahead and mute you. And then if you want to speak, you can always unmute later. So, okay. All right. Why is that not doing what I wanted to do? Okay. All right. So yes, lots of things to kind of keep in mind and consider. And the whole process, as we talked about, can be very stressful. And let's talk a little bit about kind of what's happening right now in terms of the job market. The job landscape is kind of mixed right now. You mentioned federal, though great, your dad has some postings for you. For those of you who might have been considering federal, there are not near as many positions with the hiring pause that kind of happened last year and it continues in many departments. Depends upon the department. Some federal agencies are definitely still hiring, but a lot of them are not. So that's definitely something that has changed the climate, especially in the a public service field, government related. And that means there's a lot more people on the market. So people who've lost their jobs are also on the market, which can be tough for someone who's coming out of, finishing your degree, and you're competing sometimes with people who have, several years of experience. and you don't necessarily have that experience. So we're going to talk a little bit about some ways to kind of combat that as well. But I think that's something to kind of keep in mind, that things are a little mixed, but there's also areas that are in, growth areas as well. So there's a lot of, kind of pros and cons. And some of that is doing some research and kind of figuring out where you want to go and what kind of fits with your interests, but also where there are opportunities. And then, of course, since COVID in the last 5 years, there's a lot of changes in terms of modality for work. There's, in-person positions, hybrid positions, remote positions, and all of those things are things to kind of keep in mind as you're looking at this as well. Questions about any of these things or other things that you've kind of identified or are worried about in terms of kind of the job market? All right.
Are you
So let's,
are you
oh,
are you
go
able to
ahead.
hear me?
Yes, go ahead,
I'm having a
Christina.
hard time with the mute. Sorry.
That's okay.
I had a question just about internships. I'm seeing spring internships still and summer internships. Is that even an option if you're graduated? I mean, or they usually require you to still be in school, right?
No, so actually that's a really good question, and not necessarily. Some internships you are required to still be a student, but some internships you are not. So actually finding an internship as you graduate, kind of as a first step, can be a really good option for many people. You just have to read those postings carefully
Okay.
and just make sure that it doesn't say you need to be a student or that kind of thing. But that being said, I mean, they're not going to be as well paid, but sometimes for students who didn't get as much internship experience while they were in school, it can be an opportunity to kind of play a little catch up and get some of that experience, particularly if you can afford to do that, given your, living situation or whatever. If that's a possibility to take something that's lower paid like that, that can be a possibility. And honestly, some internships are paid better than if your other option is flipping burgers at McDonald's. Internships can be, they're not all, no pay. Many of
Right.
them have at least a nominal pay to them as well. So
Okay. Good.
yeah,
Thank
definitely.
you.
Yeah. So one of the things I like to just kind of talk a little bit about is the stress. So like if you are feeling stressed out, what are some things that you can do about that through this whole process? There's going to be lots of ups and downs. And just know that there's a lot of resources on campus, and you may have other resources in your life and other things that you've done to kind of relieve stress in other situations. But talking to people, advisors, counselors on campus are definitely a great way to kind of help you through this process. Other things that you normally do, working out, yoga, meditation, all of those kinds of things can help with a little stress relief as well from time to time. Educating yourself. And I'm going to give you some resources to do that, just kind of learning more about the job market and the job search process, or the graduate school application process, whatever it is that you're focusing on, can really help you as well. And take a break. It's easy to get kind of bogged down in all of it. And every once in a while, you need to just kind of take a break, try some other options, consider other ideas, and kind of just look at it as a process that's going to take likely a few months for most people, sometimes even longer. But it's kind of the slow and steady wins the race kind of a situation. So excellent. So let's, we talked a little bit about kind of what options people were considering, but I think one thing that it's always helpful to kind of keep in mind, and some of you have already been, kind of doing a little bit of this exploration, is thinking about, other options. If you're not finding a job right away, that's what you want to do, is getting another degree or going to graduate school or law school, something that would be a good option at this point in time for you. If you were looking at graduate school and you're not getting into the graduate school you want to, like maybe entering the job market and getting a little more experience to prepare you for graduate school or law school may be a good choice as well. Doing a gap year. There's lots of programs with Peace Corps, AmeriCorps, City Year, things like that, that are, kind of those large service programs that can be a great opportunity to kind of give you a break from the process, to get some more experience in a different way, explore some new opportunities. So that's something that you may want to take a look at. Becoming a research assistant, like doing research, kind of continuing that learning process. There's certainly opportunities for that. We just talked about this, finding an internship or a fellowship. So some of you may have heard of fellowships. There are a lot of different fellowships out there in the world. They, in some cases, are similar to an internship, but they usually are part of a more, a bigger program, and there's usually professional development involved with it. They're usually paid a little bit better than internships. And some fellowships are designed for students while you're in school, but many of them are kind of a first step out of college type of programs. So that's something that you may want to take a look at as well. And there's actually going to be a workshop on a panel on fellowships later this semester that you may want to take a look at. Doing volunteer work, either domestically or abroad, can be a great opportunity. Teaching English abroad, things like that for many students. Sometimes that's something that you may want to take a look at. Another thing is taking classes, grad classes part-time. If you are kind of debating about graduate school, that's sometimes a great way to kind of do a little bit of both for a while, get a job, but also do a little bit of grad classes, taking one in the evenings, and just kind of starting to explore graduate school, get your feet wet on that can be a great way to go. And sometimes, I mean, hopefully everyone will find, what they'll be good to go by May. You're starting early. That's great. But if you don't, just finding a part-time job that's somewhat related to your field as a temporary situation can be helpful too, to build some experiences to make you more qualified for the types of positions that you're particularly looking for. Anything else that you can think of, or questions about any of these, or other things that you've been considering or might want to consider? All right. So I just want to do a little like visualization process. I want you to kind of jump into the future and imagine years and years and years from now, you're at your retirement party. And this is just a reflection for you to do. You can jot down some notes, kind of think about this yourself if you want. I'll invite people to share if they want to, but you do not feel the need to share. But I want you to think about what are people saying about you? So like you're at your retirement party, you're the little fly on the wall. What are people saying about you? What are some career milestones that you'd like to be celebrating at the end of your career? So kind of think about those things, and then think about what are some things that you could be doing right now to kind of help get you to that next step. So I'm going to take a minute and stop talking and let you guys just kind of think about that for a couple of minutes. And then if anyone wants to share, you can feel free to share. I think sometimes kind of thinking, we get bogged down into the nitty-gritty of the day-to-day details of where we're at. So kind of, projecting into the future and thinking about the big picture about what you'd like your career to look like in the long term can be sometimes helpful.
Can you provide an example of like what you mean by career milestones?
So I'm thinking like, so if you were, and I'll share one that's, kind of in my career. So like I worked in higher ed. And so like if, one of my career milestones, when I was years ago and at this point in my career might have been that I wanted to be a dean of students someday at a college. I later changed my mind and I never did that. But that was, kind of in my long-term, kind of career goals as I was thinking about that. Other things might be just that, like, I would want to, for students to like say that I helped them, like to make an impact on people. That's another. So it could be like kind of big things like that, or it could just be kind of what kind of impact do you want to make? Does that help? All right. So I'll give you another minute or so to kind of think about that, and then we'll move on. And if anyone does want to share a little bit about what they were thinking about, feel free to unmute and do that. If not, no worries. And this is kind of just a starting point too. You can, kind of think about this going forward in the future as well. Spend some time talking about that or thinking about that. And even talking about that with mentors or advisors and family members can be helpful. All right, so let's talk about what are some resources to kind of help you on those next steps. Oh, someone did share. I think people are saying about me in the future that they're proud of all the stuff I've done. That sounds great. Career milestones that I have accomplished include doing my programming software engineer job, doing an internship, networking, being consistent with your field. So definitely things that you can do to kind of get started now. Doing an internship, networking, great. We're going to talk about all those things, and being consistent with your field. So I think those are great first steps. So thank you for sharing. All right, so resources. One of the things that you can do is read something. There's a lot of great books out there. There's probably many others, but these are a few that I'm familiar with that are great kind of as you're, transitioning from college to career. What Colors Your Parachute has been around for decades, and they write a new version every year or every couple of years. That's a great book to kind of just think about the big picture. What do you want to do? Like, what do you want to do with your life and your career, and then help you kind of take that big picture and turn it into the practical next steps. And several of these others are really great. I will be sharing the slides with you, so you don't really need to worry about taking notes if you don't want to, but these are some great options, and there might be other things out there as well. But sometimes that can give you a little bit of a different perspective on the process. Look at the big picture. Talking to someone, we talked a little bit about that already, but the Career Services Office, the main career office in the Science Library is available to students from any major, and then many departments do have career advisors as well. For those of you who are Rockefeller students, myself, Christina, and Ashley are all available to have meetings with us about career options and things like that. So that's something to keep in mind. Your faculty and academic advisors, a lot of times they worked in the field. Sometimes faculty have worked in the field before or after or while they're teaching here, or are very familiar with a lot of the different career options within the field. So faculty and career and academic advisors can be a great resource as well to kind of talk through different options. If you've done an internship or are doing an internship, your internship supervisor, other staff at your internship can be a great resource as well to kind of find out more about that particular field. What are entry-level jobs like in that field? How can you best go about getting entry-level jobs in your field? They can be a great resource. And then UCAN. I don't know if any of you have heard of UCAN, but UCAN is the UAlbany Career Advisory Network. And it is a bunch of UAlbany alums who have volunteered to be a resource for either students or recent graduates or other young alums who have career questions. And you can access that at the website there, and you can go on there. Any student can access it and kind of go in, and you can research other people who are doing jobs that you're interested in. Either you can research by particular organizations or different types of jobs. You can research by kind of broad fields. You can research by geographic area if you're thinking of relocating to a different area and you want to find some people who live there. And then you can reach out right through the network to any of these alums and schedule a coffee, like a business chat with them, where you would get together, usually on Zoom or phone now. People typically do it not in person so much anymore, but and talk, spend 20 minutes kind of asking them questions about their field, how they got where they're at, what do they foresee as opportunities within the field. There are also, some of them are willing to review resumes and give you additional insight into kind of what the field looks like. It's not calling up an alum and saying, oh, can you find me a job? That's not really the purpose of this. This is networking and really building some relationships and using them as a resource to ask questions and learn more about a particular field or a particular job market. Have any of you used UCAN before? So it's really a great resource, and they recently switched the platform, the kind of the computer system platform that they used. Just about a year and a half ago, they switched over to a new platform, and that was actually an opportunity for them to kind of reconnect with the alums. So the list is pretty up to date. These are all people who have volunteered to do this within the last year or two. So it's a pretty active list. Sometimes they're busy and they don't get back to you right away, but you can definitely reach out to a number of alums there, and that can be a great resource for you as well. Okay, other things, looking for jobs, where to look for jobs. So there's lots of job search websites. Obviously, Handshake is a great one. You're probably familiar with that already if you looked for internships, but a lot of entry-level positions are posted there. Some of the larger, Indeed, LinkedIn, things like that. If you are looking for federal government, USA Jobs is great. For New York State government, this is an internship site, but then the New York State Civil Service is not on here, but that's another great resource for New York State government jobs. New York City. Idealist has a lot more kind of like nonprofits, kind of that type of thing. That's okay, Santino, no problem. So these are just kind of a handful of resources and websites to get you started. I'm going to share some additional resources. This page over here on the right is from our Job and Internship Search Handbook, our Rockefeller Job and Internship Search Handbook. And that has several pages of websites that you can use as resources for looking for jobs. Questions about any of those? All right.
Was there like anything before that slide I missed? Or was that the
No,
slide?
we were talking about talking to people and resources in the Career Center and advisors and the UCAN website. So those are the other ones.
Okay.
I think that's the slide you missed. So.
All right, gotcha. Yeah, sorry about that.
All right, excellent. Other ways to look for jobs. So like not all jobs get posted. Sometimes you can utilize other avenues. So researching specific organizations and companies can be helpful just to kind of find out what's out there. They may or may not be posting on public sites. They may just be posting on their own organization's website. So that can be a great place to be looking. Most of the departments, and several of you are from EHC College and Rockefeller. I know we send emails out with job postings and listings. For Rockefeller, we now have a SharePoint site called Rock Your Career that you can access 24/7. And we put a lot of job postings and things like that there. So that's a great resource that would be specific to your field if it's coming from your department. Attending employer info sessions. So many employers do come to campus or do virtual info sessions where they talk about upcoming jobs and opportunities, things like that. Career fairs. I've got slides later with some specific dates on some of these types of things, but career fairs are a great place to talk to a bunch of potential employers. Just talking to people in your network, whether it's, family, friends, connections you've made through internships or your faculty members, things like that. Just letting people know that you're on the job market and you're looking and what types of things you're looking for. And if they hear of anything, they can, pass that along to you. Attending networking events as well, and utilizing virtual networking platforms like LinkedIn and things like on other websites like that to be doing some networking even with people that aren't necessarily in the same state as you are. So other questions about any of that or other ideas that any of you have in terms of places that you've been looking or you've heard are great places to be looking for jobs? All right, so I mentioned employer info sessions. So these are just some of the ones that we have coming up that are sponsored through Rockefeller. And these are listed on Handshake with more details. The Zoom links and the registration links are on Handshake. And other departments on campus and the main career office also do schedule employer info sessions. And Handshake is a really great resource for that. Just log into your Handshake account, go to the events tab, and you'll see all the events that are coming up. And you can just register right there and get all the details information. But these are just some of the ones we have coming up. If you're interested in New York State government, the civil service info session is going to be really helpful. That can be a little confusing and daunting, the whole civil service process. So they'll be explaining how that all works. This FBI one is specifically about their internship program, but they typically also share some information. That's okay. If you need to leave, you will send you the recording afterwards. You can watch the part that you missed. So, but the FBI will typically talk about job opportunities as well when during this info session, even though it's primarily going to be about their internship program. The Senate Graduate Legislative Fellowship, that's one of those fellowships that I talked about. This is for students who are finishing a master's degree. So I don't think we had anyone on who is doing that, but someone might be listening to the recording that is finishing their master's degree and is interested in legislative work. This is a fellowship, a 9-month fellowship that happens post-graduation. And then, like I said, Handshake, the Rock Your Career SharePoint site or your department's emails will be a great source for upcoming employer information sessions as well. And we also do list on ours, put the recording links. So sometimes you can go back and see links for recorded ones. Yes, and this recording link and this PowerPoint slides will be sent to your email probably tomorrow. Our grad assistant usually does that the next day. So you'll get all of this as well. All right. So let's talk a little bit about career fairs, job fairs, career fairs, internship fairs. Any of those things can be a really great place to talk to a lot of employers at the same time. Typically, they're there because they are looking to fill positions, either jobs or internships, or both in many cases. And at UAlbany, we now have 3 fairs each semester that are broken down by different sectors. And the government and nonprofit fair, which is probably of the most interest to those of you who are on the call today, is happening February 24th. It's from 10 to 2 in the Campus Center Ballroom. And so you want to put on some nice clothes. A suit is great. You don't need a suit, but definitely want to look professional. Get your resume polished up ahead of time and bring some copies of your resume that day and just meet some potential employers and find out what types of things are out there. A couple of you are interested more in the technology side. So I think the technology and science fair would also be a great opportunity for you. So if you're interested in that, in careers that are more in the technology side, you can definitely check out that fair on March 3rd. Same basic structure, just different employers will be there. Some employers come to more than one. A lot of New York State government employers actually come to more than one of our fairs because they're looking for people in all different majors. So and so those are the 2 that are the UAlbany fairs that are happening yet this semester. The first one already took place. And then the CRCC, that's the Capital Region Career Consortium. And that's a consortium of all of the colleges in the Capital Region. And they do a career fair each year as well. And they rotate around what college it's at. And it's going to be at UAlbany this semester. So we kind of get an extra career fair that's organized by the career counselors from a variety of colleges in the area, and there'll be a range of employers there that will have job and internship opportunities. So that's April 8th. Again, it's in the Campus Center Ballroom. So I would encourage you to check out any or all of these fairs and meet some potential employers. Questions about any of those?
I have one. The
Yes.
one on April 8th, will that also have some technology stuff as well, the CRCC one?
Yeah, my guess is that'll have a wide range. It's probably going to be the broadest fair. It's not a sector specific, so there will be some people from all different types of fields at that one.
Yeah, because the one fair I went to today had like a low bit of IT persistence. Not all.
Yeah, the one today was the one today was definitely less on the
Yeah.
technology stuff. Yeah, I think the first two especially, but even that third one there probably will have more things that you're interested in. Excellent. So the other thing that you can do as you're working on your getting ready for your job search is build your career skills a little bit. So you want to be sure that you've got a nice resume. A couple people mentioned that they were working on their resume. We have lots of resources for that. We have a resume handbook, and in the follow-up email, we'll share all of these handbook resources as well as the link to where our recorded trainings are. So we've done a lot of different trainings through the years on resumes and cover letters and interviewing and networking. And we don't offer all of the workshops every semester, but the recorded ones are available to everybody. So we'll share those, the recording link to that, to our YouTube channel where all of those are recorded, and the handbooks as well. So you'll have access to all of those materials that can help you in terms of polishing up your resume, learning how to write an effective cover letter, doing some interview practice, things like that. And then you can reach out to, again, if your department's career office or the main career office for resume review, cover letter review, things like that. In terms of interviewing, again, we've got great resources, recorded trainings and handbooks. And there is a website called Big Interview, and the link is right there, that you can go on and do practice interviews, which is a great way to get a little bit of practice before you do an interview. So I definitely recommend that. And the career office can also help you with mock interviews. And then networking, again, getting your LinkedIn profile created or up to date. Using your handshake profile as well, using that you can network. Again, we've got handbooks and recorded trainings on how to do all of that. And if you schedule something with an alum, an informational interview or a business chat, there's questions in the handbook that will give you some idea of how you can kind of organize that and the types of questions that you might want to ask during an informational interview or a business chat, which is the same thing. We just use two different names to describe that. So any questions about that? And we do have some career skills workshops. Again, these are the Rockefeller ones, but they're open to everybody. And the other departments and the main career office schedule additional ones throughout the semester that you can find on Handshake. But we're doing one on demystifying federal resumes. So if you're interested in federal careers, they've actually changed how the format and what they're looking for on federal resumes in the last couple of years. So that's going to be kind of an updated workshop on how to put together a federal resume. The AI Career Tools series is a series of workshops that we're doing, like one a semester, on utilizing artificial intelligence in your career search. And the one this semester, I believe, is on looking for jobs and internships. So that will be helpful. The art of salary negotiation, something that's very important to know when you get further along in the process. So that workshop is coming up in April as well. And again, see Handshake for additional events. And then there's the link to our recorded workshops that you can find a wider, like a long list of different workshops that we've done in the last couple of years. All right. Another great thing is career panels. You can attend a career panel, and typically these are either alumni and or employers who aren't necessarily talking about a specific job, but they're kind of talking about a field. So it's a great way to kind of explore, especially if you're still not quite sure what you want to do and you'd like to get more information. So the legal careers panel, the public service careers and the private sector panel, international affairs panel, all talk about different kind of careers in different areas. The federal grants presentation is a great opportunity to learn about some of those kind of things that you could do, gap year kind of things, some federal grants that there's funding for, to do some research or to do additional things, build language skills, lots of different opportunities there that can be a great resource for you as well. And then the fellowships panel will talk more about fellowships and how you could take advantage of something like that. So, and again, Handshake has the more details on all of these and additional events. It's a great place to look. So let's kind of talk about the job search checklist, what you could do and what you can start today. So that was kind of some background information, places, resources that are available to you. But if you want to start today, and I recommend starting as soon as possible, by coming here is a great first step, but you want to be proactive. Don't wait until graduation. Starting to look for a job or look for your next steps before graduation is always a great idea. You want to be consistent. Set aside a little time each week to work on that. I mean, finding a job really is a full-time job. So setting aside, maybe it's Friday afternoons or sometime when you don't have class or don't have another commitment, and you're going to consistently do that each week. Maybe the time varies each week. It doesn't really matter. But setting aside a few hours each week to be working on this will be really helpful to you. And I mentioned before, share with others your career intentions. Let people know. Yes, and same for internships. Looking for an internship, looking for a job is very similar in terms of the process. So let other people know what your intentions are, that you're looking for an internship or you're looking for a job or you're looking, at different opportunities like that so that they can keep their eyes and ears open for you as well. Kind of narrow your options. Think about which sector are you most interested in. Are you interested in government? Are you interested in a nonprofit? Are you interested in a graduate program? So kind of narrow down your options a little bit, but don't get too narrow. You want to still keep an open mind to different opportunities as well. Update your resume. We talked about that. Create or update your LinkedIn profile. These are all things that you can be working on right now. Create a spreadsheet to track your application. So once you start applying, it's not uncommon for people to apply to 20, 30, 40 or more jobs or internships when they're doing a search like this. So you want to have a nice spreadsheet where you're tracking the different ones that you've found, and then like when their application deadlines are, what they need, what the materials they need to submit, how you submit it, all of those things. You want to be sure to kind of keep track on that, and then you can keep track who you've heard, when you've submitted your application, if you've heard back from them, if you've done a follow-up email. All of those kinds of things can be just keep track of that on a spreadsheet can be really helpful. One other little tip that I will say is you should also download any job postings. So like they're all online, and you don't just expect that it will be there online later. You apply, you've got the information, you apply, and then you get you get a call, you got an interview, and now you can't find the job posting because they've taken it down because it's closed. So you want to be sure to download or copy those job postings and save those, as well as save all of your cover letters and resume and materials. Make a nice organized folder on your computer so you can keep track of all of those things, because if you get an interview down the road, then you want to be able to go back and see your cover letter that you sent and see the job posting again so you can prepare for that interview. And then the last thing you want to do is you want to check and clean up, if necessary, your online footprint. So you want to Google yourself in a couple of different ways on different devices and in different browsers, and have friends Google you and see what shows up, and make sure there's nothing out there that you wouldn't want an employer to see about you as you were applying. Nearly all employers will check applicants online before offering them a job. So it's definitely something that you want to take a look at. So questions about any of those things? What are some common pitfalls? What are some mistakes that people often make? One is submitting general cover letters. Like, a cover letter really should be customized to each individual position. And if you've never written a cover letter before, or have just a generic cover letter that you use for everything, then I recommend getting the cover letter handbook, watching one of the cover letter workshops, and getting some help from the career office on doing cover letters, because If you customize those cover letters, it's going to make you stand out in that applicant pool much better. Another pitfall is applying to everything. You need to narrow it down. It's overwhelming to apply to everything and you feel lost, and the employers are going to sense that. Or being too narrow. You don't want to just like, I want to do this exact job and I don't want to look at anything else. That's going to be really tough because there might not be a lot of positions like that. You want to be able to kind of be somewhere in between, not everything, not too narrow, somewhere in the middle, like Goldilocks and the Three Bears, always better to be somewhere in the middle. Make technology work for you. You can set up alerts on Google and Handshake and LinkedIn and places like that. If you're looking for particular types of positions, it can send you alerts or particular organizations when there's postings from those organizations or those types of jobs. And not really thinking about what you want out of the program. Like you want to think about, like, you know, you're looking for a job. What kind of salary do you need? Are you interested in remote or hybrid options? Where do you want to live? What types of professional development do you want as part of a job? If you're looking at academic programs, what are the employment rates from that, you know, particularly a master's program? What are internship opportunities in those programs? So you want to look at all of those things and be asking those questions so that you ask them above yourself, what you're looking for, and then ask them of the employer or the academic program so that you're getting, when you go through all this work, you're finding things that really fit with what you want to get out of it. Another common pitfall, submitting applications at the last minute. I mean, there is a deadline because there's going to be a deadline for many of them, but getting it in early is never bad as long as it's good materials. Now, I will tell you, to throw something together and submit it right away, that's not very good. That's not a good choice either. So take the time to make sure that your application materials are all in good shape before you submit them, but avoid waiting till the last minute. Sometimes technology fails us and we don't want to be stuck missing a deadline. And another pitfall, not sending a thank you note and not following up. I think that's kind of become a lost art, and employers notice if you have an interview and you send a thank you note to thank them for taking the time. It can be an email, but it's really important. Sending out a bunch of applications and not following up. And again, on some of the other trainings that we've done, we'll talk about like what's kind of the best timeline for following up on things like that. But you want to be sure that you are following up on applications and sending thank you notes, particularly after interviews. So, questions about any of those things? All right. Well, that's my last slide. Does anyone have any other questions?
I might have a question, but
Yes.
maybe like after the recording ends, if that's okay.
Okay, that's fine. So let me ask it this way. Does anyone have any other questions that we should keep on the recording that are kind of for everybody? General questions? And then if you have individualist questions, we can, I'll stay on for a few minutes after we end.
I don't believe so because I pretty much been getting ahead. Like, you know, we've actually been doing like most of the stuff, like not all of what you've been saying. Been updating my resume. You know, I made my LinkedIn recently. I'm starting to build up a list of internships and stuff relating to my major, so I can go ahead and apply if I have to before the deadline.
Excellent. Well, that's great. I'm glad to hear that you are well on your way to getting through this. So I just want to leave everybody, if you're watching the recording as well, you can feel free to reach out to us at rockefellercareers.albany.edu, or the main career center is career@albany.edu, and they're in Science Library 50, G50. And the Rockefeller Career Office is downtown in Milne 105 and uptown in Humanities B16. So feel free to reach out. We're here to help you. And like I said, those of you who are on tonight, we'll send the recording and the resources and PowerPoint slides afterwards. So thanks so much for joining us. And I'll stay on for individual questions for a few minutes. Let me stop the recording.